You know when you're scrolling and you see an AI image that's so real, it just completely stops you in your tracks? Well, today, we're going to crack the code on exactly how those images are made.
Just take a look at these two. On the left, you've got a pretty standard AI portrait. I mean, it's good, but you can tell it's AI, right? The skin's a little too perfect. It has that kind of waxy, almost plastic look. But then you look at the one on the right. Whoa, that is a whole different ballgame. You can literally see the skin texture, the pores, all the tiny imperfections that make a face look human. The jump in quality here is just massive.
So, what's the secret? How do you make that jump from pretty good to I can't believe that's not a real photo? Well, it's not just one magic button. It's actually a combination of a few key ingredients. And today, I'm going to walk you through exactly what they are.
Okay, our first secret is all about the foundation. You can't build a masterpiece on shaky ground, right? You have to start with a brilliant, all-purpose brain, a really powerful base AI model.
So, here we're looking at some of the top-tier open-source models that act as our foundation. You know, for things like photorealism, super crisp product shots, or getting that realistic skin texture we were just looking at, models from the Flux series are a perfect starting point. Just think of them as a highly intelligent, generalist brain that, well, it knows a lot about pretty much everything.
So, a powerful brain is great, but a generalist can't create that kind of perfection all by itself. For true hyper-realism, you need to give that brain a highly specialized skill. And honestly, this is where the real magic starts to happen.
And that specialist skill, it comes in the form of something called Allura. Now, Allura isn't a whole new AI model. It's not that complicated. Instead, it's this tiny, super focused file. It's kind of like a little skill pack that you add right on top of your main foundation model.
And this really gets to the core of it. You're not replacing the brain, you're just giving it some very specific, expert-level training. So if your base model is like a recent college grad with a great broad education, the Allura is like the on-the-job training that turns them into an absolute expert in one very specific thing.
Here's probably the best way to think about it. Your base AI model, that's the camera on your phone. It's powerful, it takes pretty good pictures on its own. Allura, that's like an Instagram filter. You apply the filter and boom, your photo has a completely different vibe, a new style. It's enhanced, it looks better, but your phone's camera itself hasn't changed one bit.
Or, hey, think of it this way. Your base model is a fantastic meal that a chef made. The Allura, that's just the perfect pinch of salt you add right at the end to make all the flavors pop. It's a tiny little addition that makes a massive impact. Okay, so we've got our foundation brain and our specialist skill. How do we actually put them together to create an image? Well, it all happens in a really logical sequence, almost like a digital assembly line.
Now, this workflow might look a bit technical, but trust me, it's actually pretty simple when you break it down. First, you give it the recipe. That's your text prompt. Then the AI combines the brain and the skill, the base model and the Allura. After that, the artist, or sampler, it sketches out a compressed version of the image. And finally, the developer, or VAE, decodes that compressed file into the final masterpiece that we can all see. We'll touch on that last part in just a second.
Right, so that final VAE decoder step is absolutely crucial. See, the AI doesn't really think in pixels the way we see them on a screen. It works in this compressed data format called latent space. The VAE is basically the universal translator that turns the AI's internal secret language into a beautiful, full-sized image our eyes can actually understand.
So let's see what happens when you actually put it all together. When you combine the right foundation brain with the right specialist skill, well, the results are absolutely stunning.
This here is basically a recipe book. You can mix and match these components to get different results. So, you want a hyper-realistic portrait? Okay, you combine the Flux developer model with a skin texture enhancer Allura. Need an incredibly sharp product photo? You can use that same Flux model, but this time add a Allura designed to tweak the details.
And by using that first combination, you get this, a portrait so detailed it's practically indistinguishable from a real photograph. The Allura has taught the base model the specific skill of rendering skin perfectly. And here's the power of that second combo. A detail tweaker Allura is specifically trained to sharpen up those fine edges and clarify textures, which is just perfect for making products like watches or cosmetics look incredibly crisp and appealing. So what's the big takeaway here? It's that hyperrealism isn't some unobtainable magic. It's a method. You start with a great generalist-based model. Then you enhance it with a small specialist Allura. And that combination, right there, is what unlocks this incredible level of quality. And the best part? You can even train your own LoRa's, which means artists and brands can create totally unique, signature styles that are all their own.
And all of this leaves us with a pretty fascinating question to think about. As this technology gets better and easier to use, we are rapidly getting to a point where AI can generate a reality that is completely indistinguishable from our own. So what does that mean for photography, for film, for the very nature of what we even consider to be real? Definitely something to think about. Thanks for tuning in.